Can't handle it. It's too much for her. Bless her. We're live. Yo, it's your boy, C-Foam Sound. Turn on that energy. It's impressive,
So
right?
much energy.
Thank you. And today, with me, I've got...
Why are you mad, though? Bob.
Who's that flopping around over there, eh?
Just flopping all over the place.
You can't help it, can you?
Flopping around. What's the Bob drag queen thing? Bobbing around. Bobbing around. You know, that thing that everyone knows. There we go. Hi, everyone.
One more time.
Bobbing around.
Okay, thank you now.
That was the name of his, Bob's YouTube series.
Okay, I'll take that.
Or bobbing around.
I'll take that if you want. Today...
Take it.
Oh, today we're here to talk about a little show I like to call Drag Race.
Yeah.
It's episode 5, I feel like, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Cool. So basically, just do what we always do. Written some notes, go through episodes, start to finale, and talk about what we think about things, basically.
We have a lot of opinions.
And then if you guys want to contribute, if you're watching live, then let us know your thoughts as well. And if not, let us know in a comment down below. And that's what we like to call engagement. Cool. So, starting off, my first note. I feel like this isn't a good intro. I feel like most intros aren't good. I feel like I should change it.
Yeah.
Should I ask you how you are?
Great. Living my best life.
Okay, so I'm not going to do that from now on. That doesn't work.
That was a great segment. You know that SNL sketch about the kind of quirky girl thing where they're like, plants, and then move to the next section.
Yes,
segment. Basically that, how are you? Next section
Exactly.
is,
I feel like every week we're just going to, the beginning section is checking with Bob. Like, literally, it's like a group of us. I'm just going to ask how
it's
you
a group therapy
me.
session, everyone.
Exactly.
This is great.
Okay, cool. So my first note is, what is Scarlett going on about? Oh, yeah, when she's talking about around the table, and she's going on about, going home and, not going home, and, people saying things, and I just thought it was a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, it must be quite tough, I'd imagine, right? Like, you've just sort of, you're you go into a competition thinking, I'm that bitch.
I don't.
Yeah. We know. You're not that bitch you thought you were.
That's fair.
No, I mean, I can imagine it kind of does. But she's just won a lip sync technically, or survived one, and you sort of there is an element to it. She really flourished in that lip sync, right? Like she had gone from fucking up her lines to then sort of being like, oh, I can do this, and then killing her lips. Well, not killing, but doing quite well in a lip sync. And so you'd hope that would give some confidence. I mean, I guess it's but I do feel for her. But and as we see this episode, it has knock-on effects. Sorry,
over the stream.
Wide awake from this stream, loving it.
Remember with Perky? Don't you remember?
Perky girls
for daddy. Okay, so my next note is. I wrote down charity. Was it worth fucking over a friendship for a mini challenge?
Well,
And that's just a tease, sis.
I know. I love it, especially because obviously the editing of the episode doesn't help this, right? Because they show Charity and Scarlett being like, "She's my favorite. I'm so close to her. She's my babe."
Exactly.
And then the first second, Charity and they also obviously show Scarlett being like, "Oh, I picked you."
That was bad. That's what I mean.
Bad. See, I feel like if I was Charity, even if I really wanted to be with Kitty,
exactly,
I'm she's already kind of hugged me. I'm
that's
just gonna be
what I mean. Exactly. It's harsh.
It's not it's someone she hates, right?
And it's even still it's on national TV. If someone goes in like that, you can't be like, "Bye, bitch."
Right.
I'm going to the other side of the room.
Sup, Kurt?
Yo, what up?
Oh, we're Kurt sluts.
Yeah. I have to get t-shirts saying Kurt slut. We can make that a thing if you want.
I'm so down. So I think I think it's way worse when someone has literally already grabbed you in that thing and you're like, oh no, sorry, Kitty's over there. It's Kitty.
That's what I mean for Kitty. That's what I'm saying.
No, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't know if this challenge necessarily would have been different if I don't know if we would have had a winning team. Oh, sorry, yeah. I mean, no, because if someone else had won and therefore the teams had a slightly different makeup, I don't know if there's a team of queens who would have killed this challenge.
You're going on to the main challenge, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fuck the mini then.
Fuck the mini challenge. That was quite. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed the mini challenge.
My note was I really didn't enjoy that mini challenge.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck my drag.
Yeah. Well, I just think it didn't. It was a bit of a mess. Did you find it funny?
I mean, no, but
so why did you like it then?
I just thought. At least
it was
I mean, it was definitely ruined the sort of producers being like, "What's vaguely British? Crufts? Okay, cool. So let's do a dog show." I thought at least I just enjoy challenges where queens do get to show a bit of personality. And I mean, I did enjoy Crystal just sort of being like a Essex housewife, sort of just walking around being like, "Come on, babes, oh, we're doing this, yeah, babes." I kind of enjoyed.
Is that what she was doing?
Kinda.
I wasn't really getting that enough then.
I mean, there was a lot going on. It was a bit chaotic.
Yeah, no, it wasn't for me. I feel like Kurt's kind of right. So, like, if it was like a dog-related mini challenge, you'd want to go for a camp queen. I get that. I mean, that is fair, but still, like, still not. I think it's still out of order, personally.
Yeah. Call the RSPCA.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, wait. First of all, another little mini note. I'm annoyed that Michelle Silverstreak is gone.
Yeah, what's going on in the world?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Can't trust anyone these days.
You really can't. Okay, next note is, so basically Charity was the team leader, right? Like,
yeah,
Crystal, the reason I wanted to talk about that is because I really respected that, in that, like, she wasn't chosen at all, but yeah, she still came in the team and was like, right, don't give a shit about you not choosing me. I'm going to dominate this team.
This is very Grant energy.
Yeah, it genuinely is. Yeah. I just respect. I think it takes a lot of, like, it takes balls to do that.
It does. It really
not
does.
be all meek, like, oh, thanks for letting me, like, not.
Yeah, because I think as well, like, I think their team would have been shit, like completely shit without Charity, because Charity at least had ideas. They were all kind of like, oh, not much. And it was 3 queens in that team with her who, like, can be really funny, but were just also giving nothing. But
imagine this. Imagine if there was a Joan Crawford line about a cordless Alexa.
I was going to do this really funny line. Like, was it going to work? Your team wouldn't have won.
Like, don't worry, the cameras caught it the first 4 times.
Yeah.
Bless her. The thing is, I really like Scarlett, so I feel mean saying that, but, like, it was a bit difficult to watch.
It was quite difficult. Yeah, I mean, I definitely thought the second team won. Like,
wait, you're jumping ahead, girl.
I know, but I just. Kurt's asking who would be the dog.
I know that. I feel like. Well, you answer first.
I feel like I definitely give, like, dog energy.
Yeah, you really do. Yeah, we're into puppy play.
I mean, this is very dom sub. So, like,
very much is, yeah. I think it could be quite funny to sort of reverse it.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah, I think I would have played it up as, like, a really camp owner who, like, has completely lost control of their dog, and is just sort of like, you know, like, and I'm sort of trying to get my dog back, and, like, Grant is like
peeing on
4 miles.
Everything.
Yeah, and I'm just sort of having the worst day.
Cocking my leg left, right, and centre.
Always cocking that leg.
I really am.
You know, the, like, act a fool girl, act a fool. I feel like that's you, cock a leg. Cock a leg, girl. Cock a leg. But yeah, no, I totally see that. I think that could have been quite funny. Or me as, like, a super, like, stern, like, Miss Trunchbull figure, sort of trying to make you kneel, but then also, again, you do what you want.
That's really. You're not really sending Miss Trunchbull.
Either way, I feel like, you know, sort of Miss Trunchbull, but as, like, soft dom.
More like Miss Trunchballs. Am I right? I feel like I am right, though, aren't I? And that's the saddest part. Okay. Next note about the main challenge is you said you really liked Charitza's look, right?
For what?
This main challenge.
Oh, so yes, so her red and black, like, jaggedy thing. Yeah, it was very, because she even sort of said it herself. It was very Raquel from Only Fools and Horses.
I was getting full Ada Zane cosplay,
and that as well. Yeah, but I thought it was really fun. I just think they just didn't use Charitha well. I don't think Charitha sold herself well, but I also think the whole nature of, I mean, Michelle said it, I think, actually, like, Charitha should have been the drag Alexa. Like, I think what was really stupid about the way they approached that challenge is, like, having a different drag Alexa every scenario is a risk anyway. And, like, they kind of sold out their original concept, which was, like, we're going to have the drunk girl drag Alexa. We're going to have the bossy one.
Did you say they sold their original contracts?
Oh no, they completely missold and undersold and.
Oh, I just think just having drag Alexa, I can't even calling it drag Alexa. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But as a person, as opposed to, like, just a device, is really, really stupid in the first place. And then making it 4 different people. Like,
yeah.
It was just never ever.
That was a stupid idea, because I think you need it to be kind of central, and I think they also really didn't help themselves with how they structured the scenes, because I think it could have. I mean, it still wouldn't have worked fully, but it would have worked slightly less badly because basically, you know, the first scene we get Ella as drag Alexa and Kitty as the person being helped, Then the next scene, it shifts. Ella Vidae is being helped by Draglexa. Charitha's the Draglexa. Then the next scene, Charitha is being helped by Kitty, who is now the Draglexa. That doesn't make sense especially because of the way the scenes started. You just had Ella Vidae being like, I can support you, you've got this. Next scene, the camera starts on Ella. So you think, oh, she's going to be Draglexa. No, she's the person being helped. This makes no fucking sense. So I had a really big issue with how they storyboarded that and waterboarded it and whatever else they did to it, because they tortured that scene, let's be honest. It was shit. And I think the thing that really pissed me off, I think, from that was that it was such a missed opportunity, because actually they could have kept Ella Vidae as this, or Charitha, either one of them, as this really, because they're both naturally so funny. And like Ella had that kind of very cheesy, like 80s game show hostess kind of thing. Or that, what's that, like, there was that TV program where there was like a woman who was also a genie.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening. Sorry, I blanked out 4 minutes. I blanked out 2 minutes ago. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay, great, thanks. So supportive.
No, who's a genie? What?
There was what was it called? I can't remember it.
British.
And I think it's an American one, but it was basically like this wife, but she was also a genie. So like she would occasionally like
Sabrina Teenage Witch.
Yeah.
Sorry, God.
So basically, like her husband, you know, she'd sort of make things happen. Anyway, she had that kind of wink and nod, kind of ditzy charmed in this scene. I think would have killed it as a drag. I mean, it wouldn't have been like laugh out loud funny, but it would have worked. And I think it was so inconsistent, because you just had 3 or 4 quite loud, quite bombastic queens, but all being big and bombastic at the same time, with nobody as yes, I Dream of Genie, thank you. All being really bombastic and big at the same time, and there was no light and shade. Like it was just constantly, and it was a mess.
Yeah.
The second one at least made it slightly more sense.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like if you want to have the setup they had initially, first of all, definitely remove the actual people being Draglexa.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then like I think the point was it was like different modes, right? So what I thought they should have done is like have Scarlett go over to the device, press a button, and be like activate like what was it, like cunty mode or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it'd make between the scenes, and then it would like separate them a little bit, and like it would make it make sense.
Yeah, because you've got to sell that whole story in a minute or two without any setup where you can actually tell the story. So it needs to be incredibly clear from the beginning in every scene. And that's what they fucked up, because having that weird transition where like Ella Vidae is Draglexa, and then the next scene starts on her face, but she's not Draglexa, is stupid.
Yeah.
And so I think just keeping it as
they were in the same outfits, weren't they, as well?
Yeah. I think because there was a moment where you sort of see Charitha's like got like a dressing gown on, but you can blatantly see like the previous outfit on it. It's so stupid. And so I think, and I mean, I think Rue also was right in that it wasn't anything original. Even if all of that had worked, it wouldn't have been like groundbreaking.
Good. No, exactly.
So I mean, not like it always has to be. I mean, and I don't think Draglexa gives you too much room to really go crazy.
I don't know. I think you could do some.
You could do more with it than
like there were some. I mean, I suppose to talk about second team now, but like there were some points where we laughed out loud during the second team one.
Oh yeah, the second one definitely.
Like the ASMR bit was funny, for example. Yeah. Like and the recording of it was funny as well.
I love that way. It's just sort of like. I think this is my favorite thing with episodes like this, is where like obviously you don't know how that bit's going to be cut in. So like Davina De Campo's one from first season, where she sort of is just sort of doing all these little bits because she knows exactly how it's all going to throw together. But us as the audience, all we see is her kind of being like, okay, now I'm going to say loads of things, then it's going to get sped up 3 times, and everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
So I thought that was really clever. That like the second team with just sort of like. We didn't know it was about to be ASMR. Instead, we just sort of see them be like, like, what is this mess?
I also like the way they did it as well, because I think in the actual final thing, one of them says like very unenthusiastically, like, "Get him, girl," something like that. Just like I thought it was really funny, but in terms of like getting them to sleep. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I thought, I mean, we're skipping ahead a little bit, but I mean it's related to the challenge. But I thought the second one was good. I thought the first one, when they're editing it as well, because they put like the clunky music behind all the performances. I'm like, one of them's going to be misdirected, and one of them's just going to be shit. And I'm like, the first one, I bet the first team's going to be shit, and the second one will actually be pretty good in the end.
Yeah.
And that's when I watched. I'm like, yeah, that is how it was. The second one wasn't the best thing I've ever seen in my life, but I laughed a few times, like, which is more than most of these challenges, to be fair.
Yeah.
And like, it was quite original. Like, again, the ASMR thing, there are a few original moments in there.
Yeah,
Like,
they didn't. It wasn't too formulaic. I think
I don't think so.
it could have been far, far worse. And I think I was really glad that they did a bit more with it, because I think, especially, like, I thought River Medway was really fun.
Yeah.
Like, she really sold it. Like, she embodied that real kind of campness, that kind of QVC late night sales,
but like a very British version.
Yeah,
yeah, which is good. Like a little gesture she's doing at the end or whatever.
yeah, get it going.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's kind of the frustrating thing, because this is an episode, a challenge in theory where queens can really show a bit more of their personality, but it was a bit. I mean, I'm surprised that Crystal wasn't pulled out a bit more for some of her stuff, because I mean, she was a bit. I mean, I guess at least she did play around. She was a bit funnier, but it kind of annoys me that actually the bottom three, two of them were in the team that objectively I think were better.
I agree, and also, I mean, we're jumping ahead a little bit again, but the critiques of the second team were all positive generally. A lot more positive than the first four anyway. So
yeah,
I think objectively they were the better team, even if Ruth said they were both shit.
I think as well. I get the feeling it's that point in the competition as well where Rue doesn't really want to put Ella in the bottom, and she wouldn't have deserved it anyway. I think Rue doesn't want to put Kitty in the bottom.
Why?
Although I think Kitty deserved it. Kitty, like,
that look, my God, we're going to it in a minute.
That look was not
like,
great. She also just really rested on what she has already shown us a lot of. Like,
yeah,
they were like, "Wow, you're so camp and funny." I'm like, I mean,
she wants Charity to do something different, and she does every challenge, like wear different styles of makeup.
Yeah,
like even this episode, she wore complete different styles of makeup. Then like apply the same thing to other contestants.
Yeah, because Kitty she flatlined for me this episode. I just thought she was like, she went for the whole like. I also don't know how someone who is meant to be like a like theatre, like dramatic kind of person, how she started a scene with her back to the audience.
I know, I didn't get that at all either.
I was like, this is like, Kitty, this is your bread and butter.
That's something I thought she'd be like, oh, to like, you know, to make it a bit more like less obscene. But I'm like, her whole thing is being obscene. That's her whole camp humor, right? So like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, she was just loud. I think this was an episode where there wasn't any kind of wittiness to it. It was just like, I'm dead funny me. Look, I'm shitting, and you're like, all right,
yeah.
But
also speaking of Crystal's part as well, like I thought it would have been funny because I thought initially like, oh, this is gonna be like for a second, like this is gonna be quite funny, like where the drag Lexus says like, do you want what? I can't remember, she said like something about like hairstyle every day, blah blah blah. I thought Crystal was just going to repeat that, and I'm like, that would have been quite funny. But she changed it to a really stupid joke, and which was not funny and also delivered badly. And it's just like, oh no, like, But the reason I'm bringing it up though is because in Crystal's like, you know, I had all these ideas of all these sort of jokes that made it a lot funnier. And I'm like, you would have at least been able to change your part to make it funny. So you must have thought that was funny, and it wasn't funny. So. I don't have hopes about like if in an alternative universe where you had done the whole thing, I think it would have been worse, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it bugged me because I think lots of the queens were like, like, you know, as we saw on the main stage later, and everyone was like, I didn't really get the chance to do this. I'm like, I'm sorry, you had a few moments where it was just you.
Yeah, exactly.
All of you, like, you could have shone. I mean, I guess I get you don't want to throw people under the bus by changing the script last minute, but it is just a scene that just involves you.
Yeah,
like it doesn't affect anyone else really. I think it just confused me quite a lot because I think I would have expected a bit more, and I think also it's kind of a weird one because normally in these kind of challenges where queens get to kind of overact, the really bad ones are still iconic, like, you know, like like Rue Animal,
or Jasmine Masters.
Yeah. Her talking trash.
I was thinking of the the Shakespeare one where it was.
Oh my god, head cheerleader is going to be me. Yeah. Oh, I need to rewatch that episode. It's so bad because it's just like all of these like it's like Pearl knocking into everything.
Season 7 was so iconic,
and then just like every time Jasmine's on there, just sort of trying to deliver a line, but just delivering it so badly. Like, head cheerleader is gonna be me, Keisha Liani. What are you doing, Jasmine? But no, I mean, yeah, like, you know, the advert challenges, I think I normally find quite entertaining. Yeah. And even when they're bad, like, yeah, I mean, Rue Animal by Coco is still my favorite. Mm-hmm. It's just so bad. But like, what was going on? It's weird as well. I think as well with the 8 queens who are left, I mean, I don't think anyone really shone like a crazy amount. I actually personally think Charity was one of the better ones of the whole thing. So a bit annoyed that she's gone.
Easily, she looked beautiful.
Looked incredible. Like I'm kind of annoyed that the look didn't save her from the bottom.
I mean, even looking at the actual challenge itself, I'm thinking.
Yeah, both. She was better than definitely better than two
that
other
was
people.
my main annoyance about the critique is like she does show a lot of versatility. Maybe not on a runway, but like it's not like you only see her on the runway. You're seeing her every episode at least 2 times, and she looks different every single time in that regard.
And so, without her, that team would have done nothing.
No, exactly. And I thought like in terms of again, A, coming from like not being chosen, but B, like it was a cohesive idea. Like she got like a lot. I think that's the main issue with the first team is it's so uncohesive.
Yes.
But at least the second team was cohesive and it was well structured in that like they recorded all the first shots when they all looked beautiful and then you looked shitty and then recorded all the other shots afterwards. And then, I mean, it's stuff like that. It does take like planning structure and like a level of like cleverness. And she's like 23, like. Do you know what I mean? Like, I thought, and she'd been in the bottom last week, and like, do you know what I mean? She had a lot of pressure, and compared to a direct comparison to that would be Scarlett, who I do really like as a person. I really like her drag as well, but like objectively, Charity did far better under the circumstances than Scarlett did, right? But then wasn't given any more leeway. It seemed.
No,
it just made no sense.
It was messy. Yeah, exactly. Because like you said, like. I get Rue kind of not having a winning team. I get it.
I don't know.
I think there was an objectively better team. I mean, I get like he might just be like the second team wasn't good enough for me to like give anyone a win for this. I get it in some ways, but I think like comparing like for like, you had one that was just like one team that was just a mess, and you had one team who.
It just reminded me. I still love Kitty's reaction. Like she loved it after they played. It's like she loved. She's like, I did that. That's me. Like
that's us.
Exactly. She's so proud.
Bless her.
I think that sums up perfectly why she shouldn't have been. If I was Rue watching Kitty's reaction, I would have been like, right, I don't know. You've said Kitty, you're going home. If you think that's good, girl. Like that's the thing. I remember at the beginning of the she's like, give me a comedy challenge. I didn't win a challenge. I thought I was definitely going to win the girl group challenge.
Yeah.
Give me a comedy or acting challenge, which this challenge was both of those, and I'll definitely win. And then you think you've nailed it, and the whole team was great. Like, and that's your forte. I always say in streams, like, whatever your forte is, if you're not, that's the thing you should do well. I don't really care about the other stuff as much, but like, girl. Sorry to cut you off on that. I need
no. That needed to be said.
It did, didn't it?
Because I think that's the thing, right? That first team was so chaotic, and the second one, like, they had planned it out. Like, they knew that they were going to mess up Vanity's makeup, so they purposely had the scenes before where they caught her with the good makeup.
All of them were like that. Like the hair, both of them, like Charity.
Yeah, and they knew what they were doing. And I think I find it really bizarre that like the bottom three consisted of Vanity and Charity from that team. Charity, and then Scarlett on the other team. And I think Scarlett kind of made sense, but I would have put Kitty there.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
I think to kind of answer Kurt's question.
You look as well. Go on.
I was Kurt's question. Who was your bottom two challenge only? I think I would have to say. Scarlett and Kitty. Ella, I think, did enough to not be bottom in that team. I think Charitha wasn't great.
You know what? It's difficult. I think they were all bad, and it is difficult. I didn't think any of them necessarily better than the other. But the reason I would put, I would put Kitty and Ella in the bottom is because, again, it's their forte. True. Like, Ella is like a theatre, quite campy sort of queen. Like, those were the two I expected to, who should have, and again, I had both of those people in that team. They should have carried the team, planned it out better, knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah. And Teresa had the marketing thing as well, or whatever. I'm like, so I don't know, the people who had, I don't know, whereas Scarlett, like, I didn't expect to be that great. I mean, she could have done better for sure. Yeah. She wasn't good. They were all pretty shit. But, like, Scarlett, I can sort of see more. But, like, the other two, I'm like, what are you going to be good at then? You know?
Yeah. I think it's just... Yeah, it's just disappointing. And I think, so that's what I find. And then if you add Runway onto that, like the fact that Kitty got praise for that look, firstly, like she looks all right. But like compared to most of the other looks on that Runway, I'm sorry.
We're going to pop in a second, but I completely agree. But to answer Kurt's other question, actually, so my first note was about why have we not been Snatch Game of 8 people? I swear it's basically always 8 people because it's top 4 on top, 4 on the bottom. So that seems really weird to me. And obviously they want to push Snatch Game as many contestants as possible because it's a key episode, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So that did seem really weird to me. And also, I wanted to point out an earlier thing Kurt said because I actually thought the voice of drag Lexa on the second team was Charity as well.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, strange, eh?
Actually, this is my conspiracy theory. I think that Kitty wasn't in the bottom because Snatch Game's next week.
She better be good after all of this.
I know. I mean, she's been carried enough, so
Exactly.
I mean, just see what she's got now.
But that's what I was going to say as well. You just also reminded me. So, do you think, because I think I'm interested. Maybe we're delusional, more me, so I speak more for myself, I suppose. But I really do strongly feel the second team was by far objectively better than the first team. There was a winning team. Do you think Rue or the producers were trying to push an H&M moment?
Rue just being pissed and stuff.
Yeah, because it obviously was like the most iconic moment probably of season 2, and the season 2 was massive, and like we all loved it. So, like, do you think they needed another moment like that? And they're like, okay, we can make it work here.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
It shouldn't seem. I'm like,
who would you have had as the winner?
The winner of a challenge?
Medway?
No, I would have. I know this is controversial based on her position, but I would think I would have had Charity taking all the things we talked about into consideration.
I'd have had her at least high, yeah.
I can't think of who did better.
Well, the thing because Charity not only led it, she also was like good and professional in all of her scenes. She sold the story the most. I think I could follow. Like she was the linchpin in that team. Like, if she hadn't kind of done her little bits, the rest of that would have been a complete nightmare. So,
and I'd also maybe if there's top 2, I'd say Charity and River. And also, I think you have to take the runway into consideration as well.
Yes.
I think the runway plays a bigger part this episode because the challenge no one really excelled in that much. So the runway should take a bigger part, and both Charity and River were head and shoulders above the others in terms of runway.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think they would have been winners pretty easily for me. I wouldn't have had to mull it over that long.
Yeah. I think this is what felt really. I think the producer hand felt stronger in this episode than perhaps some of the others because I think it was a lot harder to justify putting certain queens at the bottom.
I don't know. I feel like most of the judging, especially this season, a lot of the time the judging over Drag Race generally I found difficult. But this season especially, I don't know whether it is producers or whether it's just like the judges just on a very different page to me, and maybe I'm just wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, I guess I'm always really excited by queens like Charity, and I'm really annoyed that they're not giving her a more credence, for all the stuff she's doing because that look was incredible. For any other runway, I feel like that in any other kind of season, that would have been one where they're like this, even if you were shit in the challenge, this runway saves you.
Yeah.
So
what Kurt said in relation to what we were just saying, he said he would have had River win, Charity high, Crystal and Vanity safe, low Ella and Kitty, bottom Scarlet and Teresa.
I think that's fair.
That's also fair. I wouldn't be mad if that happened, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried. I mean, I adore Teresa. I'm a bit worried for her.
I guess we'll talk about now, but that's something I was going to talk about anyway, which is I do wonder whether you've built her up too much in your head.
Yeah.
Because she does have some really funny moments, like the bum bit this episode made me for a laugh. Great. Like she is fun, and I really like her as a person, but I think she's been performing pretty poorly in the challenges generally.
She's kind of just been coasting a bit in the middle.
Yeah.
Which is a real shame.
Especially in episodes where she should do well. Like this should have been an episode she did very well in.
Yeah.
And she didn't.
Yeah.
And it's only so much you can do where you're like, this person seems like they're naturally funny, but if they can't bring it out when the time they should bring it out, then it's not good enough for this competition, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, yeah. Okay, cool. That's easy convincing. It was a bit convincing, wasn't it? So my next note is, why were Kitty and Scarlett whispering in the workroom? Because normally there's big emotional moments, it's just weird that they're both whispering. So my mum, she's terminally ill. It's
and Kitty's like, I feel so bad for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was a bit weird,
right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't realised I hadn't really thought too much about how quiet they were, but they were yeah. I mean, I guess they didn't want to get everyone involved, but still, it was. I mean, bless Scarlett. That's a lot to go through.
You were laughing when it happened.
I was full on cackling. Yeah, it's just it's funny. Tell another one.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, a lot to go through. I was surprised by how quickly we pivoted into that sad story.
Are you based on his Drag Race?
No, I mean, in fact, this season especially, I think this. I don't know.
I agree.
It feels so much less organic this season so far.
The build up to it feels less organic, but I think Scarlett was very genuine.
Oh, of course, yeah,
vulnerable and likable in the moment, and I really feel for her. I've liked Scarlett from the beginning. You've seen it in the streams and that. And yeah, I really felt for her, and it's a lot of pressure. And I actually think, I guess we could kind of talk about it now, but like, I think Queens are being unfair on her in terms of talking about how she's been dealing with the pressure when she's under. Well, she's really young as well. Is she
early 20s, I think.
Very early 20s, yeah. And like stuff with her mum and like the stuff with the competition generally, and like she's got a lot of pressure on herself generally. And I think from what we've seen on camera, maybe the story's different backstage. From what we've seen on camera, I think she's dealt with it well. I thought she seemed together during this episode. Everyone was frantic. She wasn't any more frantic than anyone else on her team, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and she wasn't any worse at leading than anyone.
No, and she was a little bit wobbly, but like given what she'd just come from with the last episode, like fair. I think as well in that Untucked, I did think it was a bit. I get that the Queens want to like voice their like issues that they have with her. Part of me was just like, is it really the moment when she's like really under it, when like loads of Queens have just said like you should go home, and like you can see she's really suffering? Is now the time really to be like, also you really don't listen? I was like,
I completely agree. As Kurt said, she definitely seemed the most clam of the episode.
So clam,
honestly.
But I mean, she was a lot calmer than. What really frustrates me is someone like Kitty. Apparently, it sounds like I hate her, but like,
fair.
Yeah, she's just. I feel really underwhelmed because I was like really gearing up to really like her, because I thought like kind of campy, silly, full of references. Yeah, exactly. Because Kurt said 5 out of 8 people said Scarlett's name, and given that she's not going to say her own, only 2 people didn't say her, right? Oh no, was it 5? Because I thought 2 people said Charity and somebody said Vanity. Oh, she should be one of the people saying Vanity or Charity. Yeah. Yeah. So so yeah, there's a lot of people, and you could see it was really affecting her. And so I did think it was kind of weird that like the other Queens are like, now's the time. And like, obviously maybe there's more going on behind the scenes and whatever.
That's what I'm guessing. That's the impression I get from everything. But still, I think
she's struggling, bless her.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of pressure to be under in that sort of environment generally.
Yeah.
And like to the Queens to sort of not give her any leeway with that. I know, but then maybe to be fair to everyone, maybe it goes back to what I was saying before in terms of the rumor of like the recording schedule being super tight this season and all the Queens being under a lot of pressure. So maybe like everyone was just short terror and not sort of being as considerate as they could have been. So
it's a hard one. Yeah, I do feel bad for her. And like, I mean, I'm jumping ahead again, but it was really nice to see her in the lip sync, like come alive again, because that's the Scarlett I really love seeing.
She's so good.
Watching her perform is really fun.
I completely agree. But also, I'm thinking now about the Untucked conversation. I feel like it's made me think. I don't know why I feel like people keep confiding in Kitty and going to Kitty with stuff. I don't understand why. Like, I feel like she's not a great person for that. For example, this episode, she's just putting on makeup the whole time when Scarlett was like talking and trying to be super vulnerable and crying and being emotional. Like, I get it's competition, like, we need to prioritize that, but still, it just seems a bit like. But then I feel like in Untucked, when everyone's coming for Scarlett, again, although it can be somewhat justified, like they hadn't heard the other things that Kitty had in terms of Scarlett saying, I've really struggled to connect with people. I put a barrier up because of my past and all this like stuff that like I can relate a little bit to, and like. So I mean, like stuff where she's really vulnerable and really open up to Kitty, and like seemed like one of the first times she'd done that with someone, maybe.
Yeah.
And like for Kitty to not like sort of stick up for a little bit.
Yes. Like, I did think Kitty was incredibly quiet during that.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of out of order because Kitty has extra information the others don't have.
Yeah, and I think it's also a kind of thing. I'm surprised that not one Queen, when they were like, when she was like, I don't want to talk. Like
they kept sort of pushing her.
I love when they were like, why don't you want to talk?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, just be like, you know what? Let's give her a minute. Let's talk about some other Queen. Like, let's just let her like gather her thoughts.
I'm saying the word for me keep thinking of is consideration. Like it wasn't there this episode. And also, I actually again admired. Again, I don't. I think Scarlett didn't handle it in the best way, but I think I would have handled it. I would have found it difficult. I think a lot of people would have, and she's very young. But I really admired her for like after walking out, coming back and being very sort of mature when she came back.
Yeah, like she generally she apologized for walking out. She came back and was like, look, like this is what's going on in my head. Like fair.
Yeah.
Like, well done you.
Yeah. That's mature. That's like takes maturity to do that.
It does. Yeah. And I always love these sort of like big dramatic moments because they're always wearing the most ridiculous outfits when it happens.
Yeah.
Like it's, so sort of there she is sort of like dressed like a sort of pimp, like sort of Madonna, like pimp kind of figure. And then, she's sort of just like curled up on a sofa as like a pimp being like, don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Like, Charitha as like this sort of rodeo look. Sort of just, it's just a mess, and I love it. But yeah, I did feel for Scarlett. I mean, it's annoying because I didn't want Charity to go, but I'm glad for Scarlett that she stayed. I'm just pissed. I don't think it should have been a Scarlett Charity face off.
No, absolutely not. But so before we go to that, should we rewind a little bit, go through runways?
Yes.
So obviously the challenge is, what is it? Spinning.
Expenny Henny.
I quite like that. I think that's funny. I do like that. But if that's a challenge, Rue, what you do?
Yeah.
Right?
It was yeah. I'm trying to think of a good pun off the top of my head now.
Go on, you can do it. Let's give you 30 seconds.
It was XBP cheapy. No. It was
One more time.
I don't know.
Don't lose your conviction. Say again.
XPP cheapy.
There you go. Sold it.
Fish and cheapy.
No, you've ruined it now. I thought it was very like a season 1 dress.
Yeah.
It just looked like old fashioned and like not like classic, like not good. I also didn't flatter her. Like it didn't like the bit where it, like how it, like was sort of tight on her didn't look flattering. Again, she looks amazing. Her figure's amazing. Like it's difficult for her not to look like perfect in a dress, but she didn't. She looked like it looked weird.
Yeah, and I think that bit of fabric that was sort of around her did like it just looked a bit cheap.
Yeah, I agree.
And I say this just like this, but you know,
I think she would look better in it. Actually, would have been cool if she wore that.
This,
yeah, genuinely.
Yeah, just I would love it if she's sort of like, you know, like with like extravaganza, elegant extravaganza, and then she walks out in like some Birkenstocks and like you know, like some slacks.
Yeah, totally. But let's go for the actual queens. So Ella,
I really liked this. I do think she is still dressing a little bit old. I do agree with the kind of critiques that were given on that. I did like the back of the dress, although the more I looked at it, the less I did like it. But I thought it was at least a nice polished look. You can't really fault her too much on like looks, as in they're never bad. They're just like at worst, I think they're just not exciting. But I still think she looks very put together. Like,
well,
she's a professional.
You say that. I agree to an extent, but one thing, as I mentioned in the last stream at least, but it's just annoying me. I feel like Ella and Crystal as well, because Crystal's makeup is generally very good, but both the makeup's just not good to me. Like it's just way too much, especially for that sort of like pretty demure look.
Right.
Ella, sorry, this much. Her makeup was super extreme. They both have very like a lot of. It's not highlighter, it's concealer, I guess. Like a lot of like. It doesn't look. Maybe it works on stage or whatever, but on TV it just looks way too much. Yeah. And it seems super weird to me with none of the judges pointing out to either of them.
That's fair.
Because I would have loved.
Crystal's was a bit of a mess.
Yeah, I would have loved Ella and Crystal's look so much more if the makeup worked for me. But the makeup just like really jarred with their looks for me.
Yeah.
Personally.
Do you know what I'd really loved actually for Ella's look is if she'd done it as a black and white, like you know, Detox's.
Yes. Yeah.
That look in kind of like a black and white.
Yeah.
Like really grey toned thing. I think it would have been stunning.
That's the thing. She's missing that like extra.
That little edge.
Yeah. Exactly. I agree. And I mean that generally, but not just this runway. Just want to clarify that. Scarlett.
What's Scarlett? Oh yeah, the pimple. I liked it. I do think the fitting was a bit. Some of the material looked a little bit cheap and a bit whatever. But overall, I mean, it was a consistent look. It made sense with the theme. I don't think it was bad. Like I quite enjoyed the silhouette on her. Actually, her makeup was really pretty. I thought. I always think Scarlett's like proper stunning. I love the look. I just like Scarlett's one of those queens I could just look at happily. Yeah, she's gorgeous. Endlessly. I just think she's absolutely stunning. She's got a very unique look. That pretty during the challenge. No, true. Actually, she looked quite rough during the challenge. Just for like the first time ever. I've always really enjoyed looking at her. But yeah, you're right. The challenge I didn't so much, but I really like the runway look. Yeah. Also, like for me, I like things that are different. We haven't really seen that's like obviously we've seen like pants on the runway and like suits like that, but like, I haven't seen anything quite like how she did it before. Yeah, and especially having that kind of pimp look, but like a really gorgeous, like porcelain face, like icy blue look, and like platinum hair, and like I don't know, I just think she's stunning. I really like her a lot. Kitty, Gosses, I am a little bit cut. It was just a flesh toned bodysuit with like some fucking sequins hanging off it. I was really pissed by it. It was just so unexciting. The look is like Expenny, the theme is Expenny Henny. I like you say that seriously. Look, come on, this theme is Expenny Henny. Expenny Henny. I was not getting Expenny or Henny. Exactly. Like I can see
Kurt, no.
Kurt likes it, and I can see why you'd like
No,
it.
don't
like,
try and be nice to Kurt. He
but
doesn't
like,
deserve it for
I
that.
just for me it was just underwhelming. And I think if Kitty hadn't worn similar things every single week, I would maybe be a little bit more forgiving. But I think for me, it's 5 weeks in a row where Kitty has done the absolute bare fucking minimum, and like the judges, like eat it up every single time she's on that runway. Did you sequin that bodysuit?
More like Bob Scott claws, am I right?
Wow.
Very that fantasy.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I just don't get it. I think the reason, I don't know, maybe because I'm feeling just as frustrated as you are with her. I think the reason for me that I'm feeling so frustrated is because like none of the judges are pointing out or praising her. Like not just with the runways, but with the challenges as well. I'm like, what am I not like? Am I not seeing it?
I know, like this is the best you've ever looked. I'm like, her face is grey.
Yes, yeah.
And she's wearing flesh tone. Like how
the contour was nowhere near strong enough. Her face wasn't feminized at all.
The only one thing I will say in that look's defense is the shoulders. Weirdly, I really like the shoulders.
I didn't really notice that.
They were just a little bit pointy in a way that kind of worked for me.
I didn't dislike the look as much as you. I'm more just frustrated with her for her lack of originality, as you were saying.
That's it for me.
And also the amount of praise she gets for something I don't like, for everything she's doing generally. I just don't see why anything she's doing is getting praise. Yeah, and it didn't look particularly spenny to me. Teresa.
Yeah, it was a bit of a swing and a miss, wasn't it? It was like overall, I think it was quite costumey. I don't think it's necessarily like
you don't want costumey this runway.
Not for this one, definitely. And I don't think it was like a terrible look. I just think if you're going for Xpenny, I want Xpenny.
You do want Xpenny, don't you?
And I think it was just a bit too like it was a bit like you've gone to like a like someone's like themed party, and you're like, ooh, it's clever because I'm Gold Rush.
My only note for I wrote for was cheap AF.
It was cheap AF.
It was like overtly cheap looking. Like it was like the one like looked cheap. I mean, she hasn't ever looked particularly expensive. It's a run. She's the cheapest she's ever looked on expensive challenge.
I mean, it's cheapy
sorry, the most cheapy heapy she's looked. But it's supposed to be spending Henny, but she's giving me cheapy keepies.
More like copy.
More like what?
More like copy. So it's the whole. It was the horror quote about sister, which is like sister, more like copy, and it's such a bad line, but Ahura is so pleased with herself that it works.
Yeah, she's literally me.
Because you can see her being like more like copy.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally me.
And that was this. It's more like cheapy.
Yeah.
So bad.
Good, I like it. Crystal.
It was a bodysuit. That's what we've seen this look from Crystal in a different color. It was pretty. It was vaguely spenny. I'm getting bored.
Yeah.
I feel like her suitcase is just like like how Bianca had the same silhouette but made it really work for her. I feel like Crystal, this silhouette does work for her, but my goodness, like if you're a looks queen.
Exactly that. Yeah, you hit it nail on the head.
And like also, I mean, I guess she is 19. Like she might not necessarily have bought that many outfits, but like it's a bit lazy.
Yeah, I agree.
At least decorate it. Like have a giant fur coat with it, or like add something that gives it a bit of shape. Or
yeah, I my note is expected. Like it was.
Yeah.
I was unsurprised by the look. I think she looks. Again, I think I really didn't like her makeup. I think she's a good makeup artist, as obvious she is, but I didn't like the makeup.
It's like pink.
Yeah, it was just all too much. I think her look was very like opulent, like quite like sort of like mesmerizing and like beautiful. She had like really beautiful, like again quite sort of more like subtle like beauty makeup or whatever. Like I think it could have been good, and again, it still wouldn't have been surprising, but like it would have sold it to me a lot better. But
yeah, she did not own everything.
Like she really didn't. Medway.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was really nice. I mean, yeah, we have kind of seen like a few looks like this sometimes before. Like it's not like the most original, but I thought it was still really pretty, like really gorgeously done. Her makeup was lovely. I really like the way she moved in it. I just like that it was something that River, I think before, has given us a bit of like a nudge, wink, wink, and this was just pretty and really lovely. Exactly. And I really enjoyed that for her. And I think also, like kind of like I was saying earlier, because she did well in the challenge, this should have been enough to tip her over into like a win or like being high.
I agree. And to me, so I only write positive things about it. I write quite a few notes as well. But like for me, it did look expensive. I think the fact that you said, I remember when we watched the episode, you said like it didn't fit particularly well in some areas or whatever, or like it looked a bit. I don't know. To me, it looks like more traditional because of those sorts of things.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I like the sort of fabric and stuff. Like the fabric wasn't particularly draggy. It looked like quite authentic to me. Like I don't know. And what I really like, what I wanted to point out as well, and I pointed out previously, is I really love River's runway presentations.
Yeah.
And like I really like, again, like she didn't do like the typical camping, which is really fun. Always she was very demure and actually sold it.
Really sold it, because I think she walked in this really sort of slow, almost somber way, and I really believed it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah. And again, like all of that made it feel expensive to me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Spenny. Charity.
See, I really liked this.
I think everyone I loved it.
So clever.
Loved it.
I love the movement of it as well. Like, and I also liked that every time the camera zoomed in, there was a new detail I hadn't caught before that I really loved. It was all like, to have that many jewels side by side and have them not look cheap.
Yeah,
I thought was really special, especially when we come to Vanity in a moment. Whose jewels I think genuinely did look plasticky.
Yeah, I agree completely.
You know, and I get it; it's expensive, but like, I thought Charity's
is what, sorry?
Spenny, sorry. Charity's look was just so brilliant, and I thought it was such a clever thing because it moved with her really nicely. It was expensive, but kind of.
Sorry?
It was Spenny, but it was also kind of like a trickster. Like she was an imp. She was like a tricksy fairy kind of thing.
Yeah,
and I loved that because I thought it was a really clever take on something. Like, you know, she can look Spenny, but she can also look like she has, you know, she's become that Spenny by stealing from people. Like, there's
you're getting the full fantasy.
Yeah, there was a full like story behind it, and then you look at fucking Kitty, and you're like, where is the story? Like, what's expensive? What's Spenny about this? Apart from the fact you've just got some like gold sequins dripping off you.
Yes. Like, yeah. I fully agree. And also, like, I'm also like stuck in the early 2000s, basic AF. You know, like I'm still obsessed with steampunk. Yeah. And I really love the steampunk elements to it as well.
Yeah.
Like steampunk crystal, like evil fairy. Like I love every aspect of it.
I mean, I get what the judges are saying.
I was just about to say that.
In that I get that she could have done a pretty face with it. I mean, I think it would have lost a bit of the story. But I think she could have still done it with physicality.
It would have been nice. I think it would have been really cool to see that. But like, her makeup was very Abora off of Abora off of Dracula. And like, I like that. Like, and I think that makeup does work well. But I would have loved it because I think she does pretty makeup so well as well.
Yeah.
And also, wait a minute, she has done pretty makeup a couple of weeks ago on the flapper dress thing she did.
Oh yeah, and in the challenge.
Exactly. Like it's not a Max situation where like Max only ever wore one color of hair. Like this is like Charity's been showing us quite a lot of diversity, quite pretty consistently in my opinion. But whatever.
Go sis.
Thank you. Also, Kurt's saying that she reminds him of something out of the Hogfather movie, which is Terry Pratchett, right?
Oh yeah, I've not seen that.
I saw that ages ago. I don't remember it well enough to say, but
I thought it really sold a thing. It was kind of like an absinthe fairy look, and I really was drawn to it.
Yeah,
and I get, like she could have done a different face or whatever. I don't think I think she wouldn't have lost too much of the story if she had done a pretty face. I think she would have lost a tiny bit, but I think she moves in such an interesting way.
Yeah,
and those wings were kind of really beautiful, but also quite dark,
and the nails as well. So, I mean, I feel like I'm not saying she changed any other elements. I think everything exactly the same, but changing makeup would have been really interesting. I would have liked the juxtaposition of that, like the creepy elements of the outfit with. I want to say movements on stage and everything, but with like super beautiful makeup. I think that could have been quite like different. Whereas we've seen queens like that on Dracula and from her previous looks. So that's the only reason I would have liked it a bit different. But still, like I absolutely love her aesthetic generally. And I'd love to see her live. I guess it's not even. I think what's cool as well is like she's not even just a looks queen. Like I like what she's been doing in the challenges as well. Same. Like I like her as a person. Like I think a lot of her generally.
Same.
Vanity.
It was a bit underwhelming. I mean, it wasn't Kitty underwhelming, but it was. I think her face did look really pretty. I really liked her face. I, in theory, would have really liked parts. I mean, it wasn't a particularly exciting or new look, right? It was just a bodysuit with some jewels dripping on it. And I don't know. I kind of feel like the fantasy that people are always going with of like dripping with jewels. But like, if you're wearing a bodysuit, isn't the idea that you're also trying to look a bit naked? So like, I don't get like, how would you have jewels dripping off you if you were naked? It doesn't make sense to me.
You're thinking like Britney Spears Toxic.
Yeah, but like that was good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah. It's like
But
what they should be
like,
going
or
for.
Shay's look, with, you know, that
Yes,
bodysuit,
yeah,
that was
yeah, yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah, I agree.
But like, it has to have something else to it. I find it really tricky with Vanity. Like, her face was gorgeous. Overall, I didn't think the look was that bad. I just wasn't excited.
I agree with Kurt. Vanity's basic.
It's a bit basic, yeah.
But for me, our main issue with Vanity, and I said last week, is the wigs. Like, her wigs are always bad. Like, very flat. Like, it's mainly the flatness. They just need more volume. Like, it's not proportionized, girl. Like, because again, you've got pretty makeup. The dress wasn't good. Like, outfit wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible. But if she like had an interesting wig and be a wig that was proportioned well and didn't look flat, it would have just made it look a lot more polished.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so that's the runway done. Cutie loved it. Oh yeah. We talked about that's about One Night on Challenge.
Yeah, I agree with Kurt. Vanity's episode 2 look, if I remember correctly from what that was better. Yeah. It was that kind of dress, the one she was thinking in. Yeah, like better look, but also similar, which is the thing that frustrates me. Like,
yeah,
I feel like I feel like I'm sure Vanity has changed wig, but I couldn't tell you if she
wears that colour a lot and like
shape.
Yeah, and the shape as well, exactly, just in different lengths. And for the same levels of flatness.
I'd love her to like really go out there with something, because I know she's got it in it. I feel like she's way more exciting than we're seeing.
I don't know. It's just the thing. I feel like she's portraying herself as a bit of a look queen, but then not doing good looks.
Yeah.
Like, what is her forte at the moment? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I feel like she's a bit like closeted. Isn't the right word. Like a bit like I don't know. I feel like there's definitely more there, and we're not seeing it personally. So if we've got to talk about, it's a lip sync.
Yeah.
It was frustrating. Like it was Scarlett absolutely nailed it. Like I think Charity did very good, but Scarlett, like it's impossible to send her home with that.
Yeah. I think that's the tricky thing, right? Like Scarlett was not going home from that. You can't have the two queens. You can't have 2 double saves in a row of the same 2 queens, really.
But
although I think they've controversial that.
Yeah,
I mean it's annoying because Charity won the first lip sync. You can't tell me otherwise. And I think Scarlett definitely won this. Charity occasionally was a little bit one note on this, like
yes,
but I also think it could have been.
If I was Charity, I would like. I feel like sometimes you choose an outfit or like wear the outfit in a way that we were prepared to lip sync because you've got a feeling you might be lip syncing. If I was Charity, I'd be like, "There's no, I'm lip syncing. Like I'm gonna wear this elaborate outfit, this headpiece and everything." And like, do you know what I mean? I think maybe that was part of it as well. Because she had to take the headpiece off because she couldn't move with it on.
Yeah,
and wasn't wearing a wig underneath. But she wasn't. I don't know. Like it was.
One thing I will say that I do really appreciate how Charity moved. Like she's really interesting physically. Like she's got these long arms and it's like very. And so I love that about her. I also really like how it would be so easy for her to just be like, "Ooh, I'm a bit spooky and creepy" in every lip sync. The 2 lip syncs we've seen her in so far, she's done really quite different things. Brought a little bit of the spook and a bit of the charitiness to it. But like I loved her last week with this really kind of very kind of like circusy like act of like this kind of animal with like this cane and everything. I love the way she performed it last week and was really interested in the way that she kind of did play like a drunk fairy during this routine for this song. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to see. Like I find her really interesting. I mean, I really enjoyed Scarlett as well. I thought she was really captivating. You could see her coming alive, which I loved.
I just don't think it could have been done better. I feel like for that song, like I don't know any queen who could have really done it better. It was just pretty much perfection to me. But also just going backtrack a little bit, Kurt said that Vanity said that she's not a look queen, she's a dancer. But I feel like being a dancer is not enough for this competition. It's too specific, it's too niche. Yeah. I don't know.
Especially like other dancers like Brooklyn really brought a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, so she was a unique type of dancer in terms of ballet as well.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, she's a lot more rounded. She wasn't just
Alyssa was funny.
It's something she was and like she had interesting looks and was like acting challenge and everything. Like she brought a lot.
It's weird. I do feel like Vanity. Yeah, like I do agree. I think Vanity is holding something back. I really love her poise. I have to say, like I love that. I kind of love how kind of self-possessed she is in sort of some of the things that people kind of be giving critiques, and she's like,
Yeah, I
Thingy.
agree. That's fair.
Like I like because a few of the other queens are a bit more erratic. She's very kind of like poised, and I do really like that about her. I think I'm just a bit. I just want a bit more.
What I'm saying is like I think I'm just struggling to connect with her.
Yeah, I think I am, which is a real shame because I think she's got potential.
Yeah, same. But that's just a stitch for now. Anything else to add about this episode?
Charity should still be here.
Yes, of course, absolutely agree.
I genuinely do think that a lot of this was, if you know the Snatch Game is coming, you're not going to get rid of some of these queens.
Why do you want Kitty in it?
Well, but this is do or die for Kitty, right?
Do or Die was last episode.
Well,
and this episode, don't give a shit. That's what
No,
I mean.
I agree. She should have like do or die. Like she should be dead. No, not in that sense. But like she, you know, in terms of the competition, she's had a lot of chances.
Yeah.
I think she's just been very lucky that there were people who were bad in a lot of these, and it kind of took a bit. People could at least be like, "Well, at least I laughed with her." I'm like, but she's. So I think if she does badly in Snatch Game, she's out.
I don't know. I'll still be frustrated if she does a right in Snatch Game and gets through. I'll still be frustrated because I'm like, you shouldn't have been in Snatch Game in the first place. You should have been Charity.
Who do you think people would do for Snatch Game?
I don't know. I'm not.
So I think she's going to do Gemma Collins. I feel like that's.
I'll be so bored. I feel like
it's
too again. Like what is Gemma
her.
Collins exactly? So I mean, like, what is she going to bring
like
to Gemma
when,
Collins? So it's going to be exciting.
Oh, what's her face? Like when Silky Nutmeg Ganache did T.S. Madison.
Yeah,
she just played herself.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me, it's interesting when like someone like Alaska elevated Mae West.
Yes,
because, like she brought a new aspect to the character, right? Which made it funny. Like, don't go with the obvious choice. Go with like someone. Bring your character to a different celebrity.
Yeah,
right. Like,
I'm really hoping we get some like properly British, like really cult references. Oh yeah, Cheryl Holt did Gemma.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like I always again, I hope I'm proven wrong. I feel like Kitty Scott-Claus is going to do Snatch Game where she just repeats catchphrases and doesn't develop a character. And I really want to say, I think Scarlett could be quite fun if she chooses the right person.
It's going to be difficult to get out of her head, though. I think she's...
Oh, it will.
Yeah.
Who else is left? I'm a bit worried for River. I hope River can do someone really funny and interesting.
I've got faith in River.
I'm hoping she's good for this.
God, what if Kitty did Baby Spice?
Oh, jeez.
Crystal.
Crystal.
I think Crystal could be quite good. I think it could be a bit of an Aquaria. No, I don't think Crystal's anywhere near as good as Aquaria, but I think it could be a bit of an Aquaria in that, like, she could be surprisingly funny depending on who she does.
Yeah.
I just want to see, like, a new side of Crystal. That would be good.
That'd be good. Charitha could be really good.
Yes, this could be Charitha's challenge. That's more what I'm thinking. Should we whip out the CUNTs?
Always.
Thank you very much. Charisma.
Who is charismatic?
I know who I'm going to choose.
Who are you going to choose?
Scarlett, because of all the points we talked about previously.
I was thinking of her for nerve, but
that's fair as well.
So charisma, then I will say
Kurt, you as well, obviously.
Probably Ella. Charisma. I don't really know why.
Exactly. I mean, you do use this. Uniqueness.
Charity.
Okay. I want to choose Charity for my nerve. So uniqueness is tricky. It's gonna have to be Charity. I literally don't have a choice. No one was unique in any other way that I can think of.
No.
Actually, no. I was thinking of my.
It does annoy me that the only one person who was clever about this theme went home.
Yeah, you can't give your same one twice. That's what I'm struggling with. You've got to choose one or the other. No, I want to give it to Charity. I can't.
No, for me, Scarlett for like holding her.
No, I should have said that as well. Okay, I want to give a bad nerve again, which is just the judging. I'm like, what is going on? Yeah.
I've run out of people for talent. This is how you know an episode's not always
been that great. I agree.
But like really struggling to be like, who was it?
I would have given. Okay, if there was no rules, I would give charisma and talent to Scarlett for the lip sync and for the reasons of previously charisma. I would have given uniqueness and nerve to Charity personally. So I'm just gonna do that. I'm gonna break the rules.
You do it.
No one else. Like I was not interested in anyone else's episode.
No.
So.
I think that's what really pisses me off. It's just like no one else was. Oh, you know, unless you want to give talent to like any like the any of the judges for their really shit like puns.
No, there was one I thought was funny. I can't remember what it was now. Kurt is going Charisma Charity, Uniqueness Charity, Nerve Scarlet, and T Scarlet as well. Yes, actually, he's the same as us. Okay, interesting. And I'm right. Like you're both saying. Sorry, I agree. You're both saying what you're saying about this episode not being good. But to be fair, it's given us something. It's made an episode. It's made an interesting stream.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to jump on here and talk about it.
I think Drag Lexa had so much talent as well. I feel like we're not speaking about
Go on then.
all that special talent to just be so so versatile, to be so funny. Whoever came up with this hilarious idea of a Drag Lexa. I think talent should go to Grant for why so serious.
My keyboard was fucked, by the way. Obviously, that's why it turned out like that.
I love it. It was all good.
But that was still a better pun than Drag Lexa.
Yes.
To be fair, you got me on the Siri train.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's alright. Teamwork, yo.
I own 21%.
Kurt's giving me his talent for being fab.
Oh,
I feel that. Thanks. I need that little pick me up.
Yeah.
So should we move on to recommendations?
Yes. I have no idea what I've been reading or watching.
I know. New season of The Goes Wrong shows come out and it's made me very happy.
Oh, that is cool.
I've only seen one episode so far. I'm excited to watch the rest.
What would I recommend?
What about Being Friends with Me?
I mean, that is quite. It's got some perks.
That sounded sexual, but
Perky.
exactly. Thank you.
My little perky girl.
Thank you.
What would I recommend?
What have you been like? You're always reading. What about?
Yeah, I can't even remember what I've been reading recently. What have I read that I really loved? Oh yeah, I did read something recently that I really enjoyed, which is Alison Bechdel, who is known for the Bechdel test, amongst many other things.
Oh.
Yeah, but she's sort of a graphic novelist, comic book artist, whatever you want to call it. And I read her collection, Dykes to Watch Out For, or The Essential Dykes to Watch Out For, which is really, really good and like such a brilliant sort of insight into sort of lesbian subculture from like the 90s. Kurt's recommending condoms prevent STDs like children.
Very helpful.
Lovely.
Yeah. Is that you finished talking about the Dykes? Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yaz.
Thanks. Really appreciate your contribution.
My talent goes to Yaz's time management.
What's that? You want us to dab?
That just looks like you're going for a hug.
That's a dab.
Yeah, it's cute.
Thanks.
Thanks, Yaz. She's drunk, but we all look good, apparently, according to her. That probably is just the alcohol, but I love that.
I believe it's true. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Keep saying bye. Why can't I say?
Oh, gosh.
Keep saying bye.
Kitty cat claws.
I want to try my best. Thank you. Wait.
Ratititi car. Yeah.